Hi, I'm Dave here. Sorry for not being active for a long time on this channel, but I had a lot of work to do, including some amazing projects, and I'm really excited on my finally done plasma cleaning device. And if you want me to do a video about it, please let me know. It's really cool. But most importantly, believe it or not, bad weather prevented me from playing anything because I got water rationing here, also in the studio and in the lab. So yeah, had to clean everything up, and I had to take some safety measures in order to prevent any of this thing happening again. And never happened before, but here climate is changing fast. And also a lightning strike completely destroyed my storage server along with its UPS. And matter of fact, it's completely dead, is waiting for new parts. And I already filmed this video with a bunch of other stuff, but including some revisited videos about the Teac A-3440, some recording with tape, where I recorded some songs and stuff. But unfortunately, I lost everything for that lightning strike. Alright, so the other day I was recording some guitar pieces with my Tascam 38 tape recorder, and I added some effects with my outboard gear before the amplifier. I was interested in having a dreamy, warm guitar sound, and so, as anyone can imagine, I added a flanger effects. It sounded good, but then I thought, why do I have to do it digital when I have all the equipment to do it in a real old school way? And so here's what we're gonna do right now. So flanger is a very well-known effect where two sources of the same recording are put together, and one of those two is slightly delayed back and forth by a very short amount of time. This way you get a sweeping, what is called a sweeping comb filter, creating something similar to a chorus, but in some way with a more pronounced resonance. By the way, don't confuse chorus with flanger and phaser though. Those are three totally different effects. Usually they can actually be combined to get an even more dreamy and richer effect. So this effect was first experimented by, guess who? Man, Les Paul, obviously. Oh man, that man was a genius. Geez, in the late 40s, he had two acetate disc recorders, and with variable speed, and he recorded the signal on both machines, and then he played back varying the speed of the two machines. It's really cool. And then obviously the Beatles were pioneers in this kind of effect, and famously it's actually thought still today that John Lennon gave the name real flange. And then there were some you can actually encounter flanger effect on many an incredible amount of recordings. Still today is really widely used. Very famously, there was a problem with concept albums and stuff like that, where you had to record a very long piece of music continuously on one single reel of tape. And because those machines that you see here, the two, even the professional ones, were not perfect. So capstans caused flanging in the mixdown recordings when you have to when you had to overdub or bounce your tracks. When you have a very long piece of recording on a single reel of tape, there could be some slight delay between the first tape and the take up and the recording tape. So it's really a big problem on very long recordings. Famously, Jethro Tull with the studio album "Thick as a Brick," the recording of "Thick as a Brick," they had this problem. So obviously today adding a flanger to your guitar or any instrument you want really is super easy. Get a pedal or an effect processor, or even easier, a plugin on your digital audio workstation, and you have it. It's that easy. But you get half of the fun. It's too easy. Back in the good old days, before even Transistor came out, you had to do it manually. You just needed not one but two tape reel recorders and a lot of cables and a huge amount of patience to achieve this effect. I mean, it's a pain in the ass. And you can actually achieve the same effect with just one reel-to-reel machine and record the other track on a digital audio workstation or a cassette deck. If you like, or even by having two cassette decks with the required pitch control or open cassette style. Open cassette, jeez, do you remember those? Anyway, Flanger is a great pain in the ass when it comes to achieving it in a fully analog way. Alright, so here we go. Ideally, you should have two identical machines. But I'm gonna do it with what I have. So I have the Teac A-3440 and the Tascam 38. Alright, so back in the days when you had two identical machines, what you did, you would actually have a reel tape, get it on the first machine, and wedge the first machine right here, and get the tape through the first machine and through the second one like that. And I need a take-up reel. Yes, let's just pretend that those are two identical tape machines. And you get the tape right there, which is kind of hard to do, but that's okay. Alright, so you get something like this, and so the first signal will be actually recorded on another machine, so you would actually need three machines in total. So the first recording would actually be made on another machine and then played back through the two machines and recorded on the two machines simultaneously. When that happened, when you play them back again, what you do is you just get your fingers and you pitch the two reels in a kind of alternating fashion. In this way, both outputs of the two machines will actually be mixed mono and will be recorded on another machine, and the output will be actually you by physically pinching the two reels of tape, you would actually introduce a slight tiny little delay, and that will actually create the sweep comb filter effect, and you will get the famous flanger. Eddie Kramer actually improved this technique, making it stereo. So what it did, it had two stereo machines, so two channels machines matching. He disabled the second channel on the first machine and the take-up reel on the first machine, and he disabled the first channel on the second machine and the this reel on this motor on the second machine. So what he basically did was he actually got the two machines running, both recording to a third machine, and he basically had this screwdriver in the middle of the two machines, and while the machine were running and playing back the recorded sound, he would actually go up and down here, achieving the same effect. Unfortunately, I cannot do any of this stuff with those two machines because the main problem is that this one is an 8 track machine, and it actually uses a 1/2 inch tape, and this one is a 4 track machine and it actually uses a 1/4 inch tape, so I cannot do it this way. I'm gonna actually record, I'm gonna use the 2 tape machines in a normal way, so with both reels on both machines, and I'm gonna actually record simultaneously on the 2 machines and have the 2 machines running and record a signal, for example a guitar or a drum, whatever, and so the signal will be recorded simultaneously on the 2 machines. Then I will actually return to the initial point, and that is the difficult part because I have to be super precise, because I have to come back to the exact same point where I pressed record, and right there I'm gonna press play and record the 2 signals, the signals from the 2 machines on the digital audio workstation I have. So that will actually record the signal from both machines, and I will actually pinch the 2 reels from the 2 machines, and that will actually create a slight delay between the 2 machines and the 2 signals from the 2 machines. That was identical, but it won't be anymore because of the slight delay. So that will actually introduce the flanger effect. It's a little bit more complicated. It's a pain in the ass, but I'll actually do it this way. I could actually use the pitch control on both machines, which will actually work as well. But since I'm gonna do it fully analog way, I'm gonna actually pinch the reel. It's much more fun. I was actually planning to use my tape recorder, my cassette recorder here, to actually get the output signals, the output signal from the 2 machines and record them here. But it's a pain in the ass. I would have to sync everything, and I already tried this, and it will sound like shit because of the way that will actually be recorded. I have to sync everything. I have to get help and have 3 hands basically, but I'm not gonna do it. But I'm sure you'll be asking, hey, what the heck is this beautiful Nixie tube thingo? Well, this is a counter, was actually a counter. I modified it to count the tape count on this machine here. So that's a beautiful little mod, and we'll actually count how many cycles the tape does. So that's just for looks, obviously, but that's really, really cool. Alright, so the machines are on, and they're warmed up quite a bit. So you have to be really careful with this setup, because those 2 machines cannot be plugged together, obviously. There are other types of more recent kind of machines that can be cascaded in sort of way. So one machine can actually act as a master and the other as a slave. So a machine can actually control the other ones. So everything is then synchronized together. And yes, but those 2 are not really, those are old machines, and there are different models too. So yeah, you cannot really sync those 2 together without adding a modification and whatever, but also the speed, the motors are different, so it's a mess. So what I want to do is have a very precise synchronization between the 2 machines, but doing it manually, it's a difficult task. So what I'm gonna do to aid my job is I'm gonna mark the beginning, exactly the beginning of this recording by, marking with a white marker the tape right on the record head right there, which is the middle one on both machines. I'm gonna mark right there on the tape. Alright, so this way I'm gonna do the exact same procedure on the other machine, and this way when I rewind the tape I will actually know exactly where the tape starts, where the recording starts. So yeah, let me actually do it on the other machine and I'll come back. Alright, so as you remember, I said that the effect is achieved by physically touching the reels. That's why it's called flanger, because those are the flanges, and you are physically touching the flanges, just slowing down the tape. And with two identical machines and one single loop of tape, you'll be touching the supply reel and the Teac A reel on the other side. But in this configuration here, I'm gonna touch the two supply reels, because if you touch the Teac A reel while this thing is running, you would end up stopping completely the machine, because the pinch roller will actually stop when this goes down a certain level. Look at that. That actually is stopping completely the machine. Alright, so let's do this. I'm gonna press record right now, and I'm gonna press play on the two tape machines. Perfect, let's go. 3, 2, 1. Alright, so machines are set, and I'm gonna record a very simple song with an acoustic guitar. I'm gonna record it with a microphone directly pointed to the guitar, no effects added, so dry signal only, going directly to the two tape machines. I have a mixer, so I'm gonna send the dry signal to the machine, and the return will be the kind of effect signal. So without further ado, the machines are armed and they're ready to go, so let's record it. That's perfect. Alright, that actually came out surprisingly good. So I'm gonna actually replicate the exact same thing with other instruments. Alright, so that's basically all for today, and I hope you enjoyed this little peek in flanging technique using two tape machines. That has been a lot of fun actually, and you know, for me has been a lot of fun. But I imagine back in the days, you know, do it in a real studio professionally with you know, people, musicians and bands and stuff, and technicians also paid in for their time. You know, this is a very time-consuming kind of thing to do. So yeah, that was actually quite frustrating, I suppose, at least. So yeah, but that's a very interesting kind of effect. So yeah, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye.